there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living coming to you today from a beautiful day here in South Alabama. Hope all of you are doing well out there and hope you have a nice weekend planned. Today I want to talk about 8.5 years high raw vegan and what I've learned in that time. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel and can come back and check out some more of my content. My thoughts have been coming together more and more lately. I was doing some writing yesterday, as I've mentioned to you guys. I'm currently working on 2 books. One is going to be done here pretty soon, and I was tightening it up a little bit yesterday. And like as I've been writing these things down, when you write them and put them back out, it kind of like sparks some ideas and things that I've experienced over the last 8.5 years, and just kind of like what has worked for me and what I've taken from this whole thing. And my ride's been a lot different than your average raw vegan. The one thing I will stress above everything is nutrition is key. You just can't do this willy-nilly and, oh, I'm a fruit, I'm a raw vegan now. All I'm going to do is eat fruit and everything's going to be all right. You got to figure this nutrition thing out. And the only way you're really going to do that, the only way you're really going to nourish your body and feel good about what you're putting into your body is when you understand why what you're putting into your body. Too many people are just looking to be led by the nose. How do I do this? How do I do that? And you can tell they haven't gotten on Google. They haven't done any searches on YouTube. They've never really dug down in there. And if you're just listening to people willy-nilly, you're doing yourself a disservice. Number one, there's just too much wacky information out there. You have to like hone in on it, and you have to do your own research because social media is not going to help you a lot. I will just be real honest with you. On social media, it's a lot of nut jobs and fanatics, especially YouTube, not YouTube, on Facebook groups, just splitting hairs and just like breaking down the most basic thing. I was thinking the other day of some of the groups I've been in over the years and just the things that we're focused on. And I think I'm in one raw group now just because it's a friend of mine and I'm not real active in there, and it's pretty rational. But just the groups I've been in and the focus in all of those. I remember years ago I was in this one group where every day all they talked about was worms. And they would show their toilet stuff, and I'm not real into looking at that stuff anyway, but they were just kind of imagining things. I didn't see no worms, but they all thought they had worms. They were all doing enemas pretty much on a daily basis. What else? Oh God, or just like the splitting of hairs. Like you won't believe me when I tell you how many conversations I've witnessed in groups that lasted over days, arguing about if you should eat garlic and onions or little things like that. Now, whatever way you believe, I'm not trying to get you to express your view on that. Do either one. But a subject like that is not something that you spend 2 or 3 days going back on. And a lot of this wrong stuff is just babble. It's babble if you just participate in the online stuff. So I learned early on that I was going to have to dig a little bit, that I was going to have to wade through a lot of the garbage to get to the gold, so to speak. And the biggest thing I've come across is nutrition. The more that I've upped my nutrition, the more that I've completed what I've put into my body, the better I've felt, the more solid that I've felt. And the number one thing I learned early on, I never fell prey for this. The gimmicks are not going to work. The gimmicks are not going to work. You've got to learn how to eat. And that's why I'm always talking about, these juice feasts and these fasts and all these special programs and these special things. Now, the cleanse I'm working on is different than that. It's a cleanse that actually you take nutrition into your body. There's no reason you have to deprive your body or starve yourself to cleanse your body over the long haul, and that's just kind of what I've done. And I can always tell by the approach of people, the way they talk to me, the things I see online, whether they'll be around or not. I mean, listen, I'm just going back over things I've seen. I'm very experiential. Like, okay, I see a person do that. I see people do this 10 times, this fails. I see people do this 10 times, they succeed. That's not that big of a study group, but I've just kind of picked that kind of vibe up. You have to enjoy your food. You have to enjoy your food. Some of this stuff I see people, especially when you're new to this. This is why I like to really stress when you're new to this lifestyle. Buy yourself a couple of recipe books. Buy yourself at least one recipe book. If you absolutely can't afford anything, go online, find some recipes that you really like. When you find some basic recipes, if you'll notice components in recipes, that's where you can jump off and create things yourself. But you can't live on a diet. You know, people can do something like that's not all that pleasant, or they can eat food for a specific period of time for a reason, you know, without having to enjoy their food. But if we're talking about long term, a lifestyle, a lifetime, you're going to have to enjoy your food, because if you're not enjoying your food, eventually that's what always takes people back to making bad choices. And there's so many good choices out there. There's so many good choices. And that's the biggest thing I've learned on this lifestyle, is there's no deprivation. There's no missing out on anything. There's just, you do experience, I mean, when I say there's no missing out, somebody will interpret that to you can have everything you want that you might be currently enjoying on the standard American diet. Well, what you'll come to find out is that's kind of tricking you, that your body doesn't really enjoy that stuff as much as you think it does. Like, I think back on, you know, back in the days when I was a drinker and ate wings and ate all kind of garbage. Yes, my tongue, for short term, I enjoyed what I was putting into my body, but long term, that food wasn't serving me. Now I kind of get the best of both worlds. Yes, you're going to have like a little transition time. You're going to have a time where maybe the new food, the raw food, is not as exciting to you. Maybe you find yourself missing things because our palates have been corrupted. Eating that standard American diet. That's why in people's refrigerators they have so many condiments, and they have to mix this, and when they eat meat they have to put 30 different things on there, you know, to make it taste good. Once you do this lifestyle for a while, your tongue changes. My tongue has changed completely. You start to be very like the mono meals. You just need one thing and it makes your tongue explode. Actually, it's the opposite of missing out on things. Take ice cream, for instance. Back in the day, even though I wasn't as focused on my health as I am now, I didn't want to I didn't want to blow up, be fat 400 pounds. So I didn't just eat ice cream at will. I didn't eat ice cream every day. I didn't eat unlimited amount of ice cream, or ice cream, wasn't ice cream back then, but I didn't eat unlimited amounts of ice cream all the time. I knew, because I did watch my weight most of my life, even though I'd go up and down, I'd have to lose it. I was still cognizant because I was in that diet mentality. On this lifestyle, I can eat all the ice cream I want all the time. This morning, I had a monster bowl of ice cream, probably 8 or 9 bananas worth. I had chocolate, I had cacao nibs in there, chocolate chip. You know, I use almond butter sometimes. I mean, I eat ice cream every day. All my food I really enjoy. So I'm not missing out on anything. If anything, it's like I'm getting the best of both worlds now, because I eat things that I really enjoy, plus I feel good. I don't have that letdown. You know, used to most of the things that really hit my pleasure centers, if I ate those, I was done for the day. Like, I couldn't eat, like, you know, what I really liked back then and then go out and do something, because, you know, it was just a major energy suck. So, yeah. And like I say about the fanaticism, and there's this fanaticism too, that's one thing too that I've never, like, I kind of won't say I learned it after 8.5 years. I kind of learned this early on, that I just didn't care too much about that fanaticism about being fully raw. Nothing wrong with being fully raw, but don't make that the holy grail, because there are people out there that I know doing fully raw that I believe are doing it very well. There's Chris Kendall. Chris Kendall, I can't argue with anything that SOB does at all, because the results are there. You can tell by the way he looks. You can tell by his demeanor. I've met the guy, and he's fully raw. Works for him. But he makes good choices. He's not eating garbage. Chris has the time. Chris is not making bad choices just to stay fully raw. The same thing with Melissa, Raw Food Romance. Melissa stays fully raw all the time, but Melissa's not sacrificing to stay fully raw. Now, what the bad examples I'm trying to point out here are the people that are just so fanatic that they eat things that are not great raw choices. And I'm like, a lot of times they'll be condescending if they're fully raw, and they'll look down on any cooked food, and I'll say, I'm pretty sure this cooked food here is less objectionable than that garbage. Like, and also too, don't get me started on the processed stuff in the raw food world. But what I'm trying to get out there is, like I say, I'm just saying, it's not always about fully raw. And if you are going to do fully raw, I don't ever, let me take a step back. I think sometimes when I talk about how I do high raw vegan, whatever, I never want to discourage anybody from being fully raw. God bless, go for it, but just make sure you're getting everything you need. Hell, I go back to Costa Rica tomorrow and I'm in that little beach town. I'm probably eating fully raw. I mean, I never even, except for a very few times, the last time I was living at the beach in the tropics, I didn't even hardly turn my stove on. I maybe heated water once in a while. I ate cooked food when I would travel back to the States, so I slipped back down into the tropics. I'm probably eating fully raw, but down there I get good stuff. I get good stuff at a good price. Oh, God. I was thinking this morning about the greens that I used to get down there. What else? I just kind of wanted to throw everything out there today. What have I learned after 8.5 years? I've learned you can learn something from almost everybody, from all types of sources. Listen to everybody, but use your filter. Stay away from that fanaticism, though, because that's not doing anybody any good. And having said that, I would have probably been the worst of all. I think about that all the time. If I'd have started doing this lifestyle 10, 15 years earlier, I'd have probably been the most fire and brimstone preacher of the raw food diet there is. But I feel good all the time. I'm about to, as soon as I wrap up this video, I'm going down to the park to work out. My digestion is good. I go to the bathroom on a regular basis. I have energy. I'm an old dude. I'll be 57 in March. And yeah, having come to this lifestyle when I was 48 years old, it's the best decision, I think, health-wise that I ever made. I would say, if you probably had to sum it up, over 8.5 years, I'm probably about 93.7% raw. But anyhow, just my 2 cents worth, just the few things I've learned. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you again in a couple of days. Peace.